Welcome. So let me put on my pointer. So in the last webinar series, we talked about the fact that universities in Germany is free and how you can prepare your applications to apply and look for those particular universities that offer no tuition, so you can come to Germany and actually study for free. So in the course of that video, I mentioned that some universities do require students to apply through the uni-assist. So you are not allowed to apply directly to the university. So some universities do allow that you apply to them directly, but I think increasing number of universities use this uni-assist as a middleman between the applicant and the university. And we are going to be talking about this uni-assist in today's webinar. So if you are not opportune to attend this webinar now, you can also watch the videos on YouTube and you can leave your questions in the comment section and we're going to answer all of your questions. So let's dive into the presentation for today. So I will start by giving us an overview of what uni-assist is all about. So like the name implies, it's kind of intuitive. So they are assisting universities. So it's a kind of a centralized application evaluation service. So they act as a streamlining, they act by streamlining the application process in such a way that international students will get their documents evaluated first by them, making sure that they meet the requirements of the university, verifying their qualification, and make sure that the qualification complies with the German university requirement for that particular bachelor or master's program that they want to apply. And you might think that, yes, because the university has already put the requirement on their website, that students are going to automatically comply to this requirement. But this is not usually the case, because sometimes a high school diploma in your home country or your bachelor's diploma in your home country is not really aligning with the German system of qualification, and therefore uni-assist come in to make sure that before the university actually receives your files, they have all the requirements met. So why do universities use uni-assist? So because it is a kind of like a win-win. So it is both good for the applicant, which is the international student, and also the university. So uni-assist start by making sure that your documents get verified. So they go through your document thoroughly to ensure that all the submitted documents meet the university standards, and they make sure that your applications or your credentials from your home country actually meet the requirements that the university has put forth. Also, they make sure that you meet the eligibility requirements, because sometimes in some universities they specify that in order for you to be eligible for this, most especially for master's program, you need to have a second class upper bachelor's qualification, or you need to have a first class qualification. And sometimes students don't meet this requirement and they still go into sending the application. So uni-assist will check this and let the student know that they don't qualify. Also, sometimes some universities do mention that if you want to study in English and your bachelor's diploma was not undertaken in English, you need to provide an English proficiency examination, so certificate. So it can either be the TOEFL examination or the test of English as a foreign language, so which is usually the IELTS. So sometimes some students usually send in their applications without including this English proficiency. So uni-assist will check it and then inform the student that they are missing out on English requirement as an eligibility check. So there are a lot of universities, like I mentioned initially, that are now participating using uni-assist, because it really makes things easier for the university And like I mentioned in my previous video about universities in Germany being free, you can actually check on this website, on this DAAD website. So here you just need to, if you know the name of the program you are going in for, you can type directly here and search. But if you don't know, you can go here, click on this check down box here, and you select the type of program, select your course language English, and then select what field of study you are interested in and take search. And then you are going to have several programs within the domain of your field of study for you to check. And usually once you see a program that is of interest to you, you click on the program, it will take you to the website of the university, and from there you can see all the requirements of the university and how you can send in your application to that particular program. So some programs, some universities that are currently using uni-assist, you have like these universities here. So TU Munich, TU Berlin. So this TU means Technical University. So Technical University Dresden, Berlin, University of Leipzig, University of Potsdam, and so on. So usually from here, you are going to see if your university is actually requiring you to send in your application to uni-assist. So before you start your application process, there are some 3 key steps that you have to really pay attention to. So first, like I said on the website that I was showing you on the previous slide, you really have to investigate the program and make sure that your program is available especially in English, and check also when you need to apply. So I mentioned in my previous webinar that the application, universities in Germany usually have 2 application deadlines, so one for international students and one for local students. So the one for international students, usually it's way more earlier because of the visa requirements that they have to go through the embassy. So they usually have a more earlier application deadline. So some students usually confuse this and think that they can apply they can apply like locals. No, so you have to pay attention to the application deadline and also the language requirement, like I said in the previous video. So check if your master's program has to be taught exclusively in English, and check if the university will require an official English proficiency exam, or they will require you to just mention that your bachelor or your high school diploma was undertaken in English, and this might be enough for you to be able to meet the language requirement. Also, there are some programs that are partly taught in German and partly taught in English. In that case, you probably will need to provide 2 language proficiencies. So one for German, which is usually, I think, from B2 and above, and for English, it is usually the IELTS or the TOEFL, I think from a score of 6.5 or 7 and above. So how to navigate through the uni-assist platform, I'm going to mention this I'm going to show you in the next slide. So first of all, the platform is really quite easy to use. So you just need to create an account, and after you create an account, then you set a profile, and in the course of setting the profile, you are actually applying for the program of your interest directly. And after that, you have to upload specific requirements based on the program of interest that you are applying to. So some programs require more documents, some require less. So usually I would say you actually know the complete documents that you need to upload only when you've actually selected your program of study, and you are on the uni-assist platform. Then they will ask you the type of documents that you will need to upload. So, and you need to pay attention during the uploading of your documents. So usually the file format that they need, that the uni-assist platform will require you, and also that the university requires you, is in PDF or in JPEG. So if you have your documents in any other format, so maybe PNG or in a Word form, please always convert them to PDF and of usually good quality. So if your documents are taught where your diploma were issued in a language, I think, other than English and German, then you will have to translate it. So you can look for an official sworn translator to translate this document for you. So sometimes students do upload documents from other languages, and usually this will not be accepted on the uni-assist website. Also, your naming of your document have to be clearly, so this is also good for easy identification. So if it is your CV, you have to label it CV rather than having it as in file 221. So if it is your diploma, just label it diploma rather than having it in another file format. So I think it will be easier for the platform and also during the evaluation process. And so the service that uni-assist provide is not free, so you would be charged an application fee of 75 euros, and this will be for your initial university that you are applying to, and this usually covers the evaluation of your document. And if you have additional documents that you want to upload for verification, so to another university, then you'll be charged a subsequent fee of 30 euros. So usually it's not free, and that is why you really have to make sure that before going in for this particular program, you are sure that you meet the requirements to be admitted for that university program. So this is how the uni-assist platform looks like. So if you go to Google and just search for uni-assist.de, then you will have you click on the website and you have this interface. So you can just come up here and then select, it will be in German because of here.de. Just come on the language here and select English. And then here, if you already have an account, you can sign in, but I assume many of you watching following this webinar do not have an account, so you just have now to select your course of study. So in the previous slides that I showed you on the DAAD website, if you already know the name of the program you are studying, just search it here and then write it here and then select the semester. So some programs usually start in the summer semester, some start in the winter semester. So select your semester here, select the university from the drop down menu, select the federal state, and then the type of degree. Is it a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? And then you can now just take search. So once you take search, you will see now your program of choice is going to appear, and you will just follow the subsequent instruction. So the next instruction will just be for you to upload the documents that they require, and then you have to pay the 75 euros application fee. Once you do that, then you will receive an email. You will receive an email, and then from there you will be able to have that email will tell you that you need to create a password, and once you create a password, then subsequently your after the payment of your application fee, then you can now, they will now let you know that your documents are being verified, and if everything goes well, they are going to now forward your application to the university because you've already met the eligibility criteria, you've met the verification of your documents, so your bachelor's, your bachelor diplomas, and also your high school diplomas if you are going in for the bachelor program. And then subsequently, once you sign into this platform, you can receive messages here as in your application has been successful, or if maybe you have further documents to upload, and it is also here that I will let you know that your documents have been forwarded to the university, and then you get the final acceptance letter or rejection from your university and no longer from uni-assist. So your business with uni-assist finishes when the verification is complete. So they are going to send you a document saying your verification is complete, and your document will be sent to your university. So once it's sent to the university, then you just have to wait now if the university is going to grant you an acceptance or a rejection. So the application timeline again, just for a very brief summary again. So once you search on your program of choice, then you prepare your documents based on what you are going to see on the uni-assist platform, or if you already have seen it on the university website. Then you create your profile on uni-assist, and then you upload the documents, you pay the application fee, and you click submit. Uni-assist is going to verify your documents, make sure that you met the eligibility criteria, and they also make sure that your documents conform to the German qualification requirements, and then they are going to send your documents to your university that you are applying to, and then the university now will also review your document and communicate a decision to you if you have been accepted or rejected. So after you've sent your documents to uni-assist, uni-assist will also enable you to track the status of your application and keep you informed. Like, for example, they need more documents from you, or maybe they want you to provide the right translation of your document, or if your document has already been sent to the university. Some of the common mistakes you need to be aware of while submitting your document to uni-assist is that sometimes, like I say, some students do not upload all the required documents. So the uni-assist website is really kind of intuitive, and they have a drop-down menu with a lot of documents that you expect you to upload. But sometimes if students fail to upload these documents and still submit to uni-assist, this is just simply going to delay their application process, because uni-assist will contact them later, and this usually takes some weeks, and then letting them know that they need to upload missing documents. So in order for you not to waste time at this stage, please always check and upload all the required documents. So you also have incomplete documents, so double check that all files are uploaded correctly. So maybe that's why I always tell students, please make sure you label your files correctly. Sometimes you might have document 121, documents 123, and in the end of the day you discover that the both documents are the same, but just simply different download dates. And then in the end you think you've uploaded your CV and your diploma, but it's just actually your CV twice. Also keep in mind the deadline. So for example, because uni-assist has also a time that they will take to process your documents, but also the time that uni-assist is taking to evaluate your document has to also fall within the deadline of the application of the university. So meaning that if your university is the application deadline is next week and you are uploading your document to uni-assist this week, uni-assist will also take its normal time to evaluate your document, and you might probably not be able to meet the deadline of your university. So please always make sure that for universities that uses uni-assist, you need to start your application process earlier, because uni-assist will not hurry up because the application deadline of your university is due soon. So incorrect translation, like I said, some students just go ahead uploading their diplomas in the language of their home country without making sure that it's either in English or in German. So please, and when translating, always make sure that you use a sworn translator that is known with the right qualification to be able to translate your document. Because if you don't follow this, usually in that case, then the uni-assist is going to inform you that your documents have not, the translation of your document is not recognized. So final tips that I have for this webinar today is always make sure you start early, like I said, because uni-assist also has some time that it's going to take to evaluate your document, and so would your university as well. So always check your emails. So after creating your profile on uni-assist, always check your spam folder, because sometimes it's possible that they get back to you, but this goes to the spam folder. Then in case you have some difficulties in creating your uni-assist uni-assist profile, you can get in touch with us on the comment section. We can also help you through this. Double check the requirements of the university and make sure that you actually submit all the documents that are required by the university, and always please keep an eye on your uni-assist portal to make sure that the uni-assist have done their verification and your documents are actually correct, and then your application has been forwarded to the university. So until your application file has been approved by uni-assist and submitted to your university, then you are still not sure, you have still not yet applied to the university. Many students think that after submitting the application to uni-assist, they are already on their way to getting an acceptance letter. No, uni-assist is just a middleman. So wait, be patient, and keep an eye on your uni-assist portal until your documents have been forwarded to your university. So like I always say, the best time to start is start now, and make sure that you meet the deadline for the particular program of your choice. So for those of you who are in this webinar today, please, you can continue with us in the Q&A session where you can ask all your questions. For those of you that will be watching later, please, you can leave your questions in the comment section, and see you in the next webinar.